shouldn't be fun, but I think it should be fun. And today especially fun. Steve's not here today, right? That put a smile on your face, won't it? And we were at coffee yesterday, and some of the guys were talking to me about preaching up here, and I said, "Well, this is going to be a tough 2.5 hours on y'all." And Dale told me, he said, "Joey," he said, "you can preach as long as you want now." He said, "We're leaving at 12 o'clock. So that'll be fun to watch y'all walk out of here in the middle of it. So, no, we shouldn't be that wrong. I hope not. I'm going to try to get Win and Bill out of here in time to watch that basketball game. I know they want to get back and see. And also, we're in the house of the Lord. And we're here to worship our God. And He's given us His community and this church family. And that should be fun. We should be here with a smile on our face and joyous, and it should be fun to come to church. One time, I don't know if he was speaking or if I just overheard him talking to somebody or what it was, but Brother Curtis, I heard him say that young preachers get up here and they get on fire, and one thing they don't realize is that 90% of the people that they're talking to know more about what they're talking about than they do. I don't know if that's because I'm not quite as young as everybody else that gets started in this or what it is, but I realize that. Looking at y'all out there, I know there's a wealth of knowledge out there, and that a lot of y'all know way more about the Bible than I do or probably ever will. But I try to put this in a way that it kind of gets to everybody. So this is like an apprentice up here trying to say something or teach something to a master of a trade. And that puts a lot of pressure on me. So if I stumble or mess up, that's part of why. But if you are a master out there, what I'd like for you to do is pay attention and let me know if I'm doing something wrong or if I'm going in the wrong direction or what I'm saying isn't how it should be said or how you take it. If you're an apprentice, maybe if you pay attention and you listen, you'll learn something or get something out of it like I will. And if you're not a union member yet, today would be a good time to pay attention and come up here and pay your union dues and sign up at the end. So with that, let's pray. Lord, I ask you today, Lord, that you use me to speak your will, Lord, that I don't say anything that I want to say, that I only say what you want to say through me, Lord. And I ask, Lord, that it touches somebody out there, that it brings somebody closer to you or brings somebody to you, Lord, and that I do a good job in speaking your word. In your name, I pray. Amen. Amen. So, I like for you to pay attention to this first part right here, what we're talking about or what I'm talking about up here today, because we'll get back to this at the end. We all kind of get together. So what I'm going to talk about today is why are we here? Why are we here? And to start with that, I'm going to start. I didn't know. Instead of everybody flipping through their Bibles, I'm going to go all over the place here. So I'll read this out to y'all, and if y'all want to write it down and go back and look at it later, I think that'll be easier than everybody flipping to it. But I'm going to start with Romans chapter 10, verse 13. Chapter 10, verse 13 says, "For whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved." Now, what does that mean? Why would we want to be saved? Why would we believe in God? What would be our reasoning for that? Well, in today's society, there's become two reasons or two beliefs of why we're here. And there may be 3 or 4, and if somebody's got one, I'd love to hear it. I'm open to hearing anything, and maybe you can change my mind. I doubt it, but I'll listen. The first reason or the first theory on why we're here is something created us. Something created the earth. Something created human beings, the water, the mountains, everything about the earth, the dogs, the cats, the chickens, the cows, everything. Something out there created us, and we were put here like that. The other theory is that somehow there was 2 big rocks floating through outer space. And these 2 big rocks hit together, and it caused an explosion. And from this explosion became water. And from this water became a tadpole. And from this tadpole became a frog. And from this frog became a monkey, and from a monkey became a human being. Now, I've worked with some guys that I can understand where this theory came from because their intelligence level wasn't much more than tadpole. But that just doesn't make sense. I mean, that everything just came along. There's just way too much in that's gone on in the history of the world for this to make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. But if it does make sense to you, and that's what you want to believe, let me put this out there to you. If what you believe is true, you came from a tadpole. When we die, I get what you get. So if I don't believe what you believe, I get the same thing you get. We turn into worm food and just turn into dust and nothing happens. So there's no consequence for me not believing the way you believe. But see, if you don't believe the way I believe, then I'm going to go to heaven and you're going to go to hell. So it would make sense to me that if you want to hedge your bets and make sure that you're getting out of this world alive, I would go with the creator theory. Unless your daddy was a dinosaur, I would definitely go with the creator theory. So, you're going to have to forgive me my pauses because I just missed two things in that that I was going to say. But anyway, but now that we believe in God, and we should believe in God because that's your two options, to either believe in God or believe that we came from a tadpole. What's the thing that we need to do next? You're out there and you don't believe in God. Well, that's easy. What we got to do is we got to quit sinning, right? That's the first thing that you have to do when you believe in God is you've got to quit sinning, and you've got to go out there and you've got to get the world to quit sinning. There's all this heavy burden of being a Christian that you have to do, and the Bible's full of sins and things that we shouldn't do, and things that we're not allowed to do once we believe in God and we become a Christian. So I got this book. This book was wrote in the 90s or 2000s. I forget when it would be. What this book would probably be called would be An Idiot's Guide to Getting to Heaven, or How to Get to Heaven for Dummies. Y'all remember them books, how they came out? They came out for everything. And that's what this book would be called. Because that's what this book is. This book tells you exactly what you're supposed to do, exactly how you're supposed to do it, and exactly how you're supposed to live. So now that we believe in God, we believe that God created us, we're going to go in there and we're going to stop the sin. So let's see what the Bible says about that. I'm going to go to 1 John chapter 1, verse 8. What 1 John chapter 1, verse 8 says, if we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not in us. So that means, wait a minute, that must have got messed up in my interpretation there, right? It says, if we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. So that means as Christians, we're going to continue to sin, right? We're going to continue to do wrong. We're going to continue to do everything that as Christians we thought we weren't supposed to do, right? Because it says right there, I mean, that seems pretty easy to interpret, that we're going to continue to sin. All of us, Christians, non-Christian, it doesn't matter what, we're going to continue to sin. And if you don't believe that, you're deceiving yourself. If you're sitting out there right now thinking that as a Christian you shouldn't sin or you're not going to sin, you're deceiving yourself. That's what the Bible says. So that must mean that we have to go out there and stop sin from the world, right? We got to go out there and tell everybody else not to sin and what their sins are and what they're not doing. Just like Jesus did when he met the woman at the well. He got down to the sand and he started drawing in the sand with his finger. And as everybody came up, I mean, they called her. He jumped up and he got on her now. He said, he who hasn't sinned cast the first stone. So did he turn around and get on to those other people who were pointing out their sins first? Is that where he went to first? I believe that's what my Bible said. See, my Bible doesn't say it's wrong to steal. My Bible doesn't say it's wrong to cheat. My Bible doesn't say that it's wrong to murder. My Bible doesn't say that it's wrong for you to cheat. My Bible doesn't say that it's wrong for you to steal. My Bible doesn't say it's wrong for you to murder. My Bible says it's wrong for me to cheat. It's wrong for me to steal. It's wrong for me to commit murder. So if we believe that, then these sins will kind of take care of themselves, won't they? Well, as a Christian, then what does that mean we should be doing? So we believe that there's a God. We thought that if we wanted to become a Christian and get to heaven and get into this to the new world, to the afterlife, that we had this whole long big stack of things that we were allowed to do and we weren't allowed to do and we should be doing and we shouldn't be doing. Well, I think what we should do, if we don't know what to do, is pull out our guide and read in it and see what it says. So let's see what it says that we should be doing. Let's go to Matthew 22, 36 through 40. This doesn't come from an apostle or anybody else. This is Jesus speaking right here. So Matthew said, "Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law?" Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and prophets." It isn't me saying it. It's right there. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you take the Bible and apply it to yourself, and you only do things to your neighbor that you want to do to yourself. See, I don't want nobody murdering me. I don't want nobody stealing from me. I don't want nobody lying to me. So I'm not going to do that to anybody else. That's what the Bible says we should be doing. That's how we should be controlling sin. Each one of us has the responsibility of working on ourselves. Not worried about the sin in the world. Not worried about what's going on out there. That's what God's here for. That's what God does. And see, when I became saved, this is something that I found out. Before you get saved, you work on this sin by yourself. You're out there working on these things that you need to fix, and you're working on yourself. You as a Christian, when you go out there and you're working on somebody else's sin, you're working on it by yourself. See, when I become saved, and I started applying the Bible to myself, now I'm working on it with God. And it becomes so much easier. He convicts me of what I was supposed to work on. He tells me what I need to change, what I need to do, what the things that I need to get rid of in my life or bring into my life to get to heaven. What we're to do as Christians is we're to love Him with all our hearts, all our mind, and all our soul. And only us and God knows if that's true. If it's not true, you ain't getting to heaven. How do I know that? It says it. Right there, not even in black and white, in red and white. And we're going to treat our neighbors like we want to be treated. Well, the next thing you would say, now, Joey, that don't sound right. That's not right. How does the world, how do we get the world to do this? If we're not supposed to go out there, my Bible says that we're to use it to teach and rebuke and learn. Well, shouldn't we teach and rebuke ourselves? Shouldn't we use it to tell ourselves how to act and what to do? I believe we should. So how do we get the world? How do we get the world to buy into this? Because once the world buys into this, once everybody in the world is doing this, the world becomes a perfect place to live. Let's do something really wild and crazy here. Let's just do something like we've never done before. Let's open up our Bible and see what it says to do. Let's go to Mark chapter 16, verse 15 and 16. Mark chapter 16, verse 15 and 16 said, "And he said to them, Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned." Maybe that's what we should be doing. Instead of going out and trying to rid the world of sin and get rid of all the sin, maybe we should be going out there and getting people to come to the gospel, to come to the Word. And when we bring everybody else to the Word, and they start using the Bible, and they start using God like we have, and they're working on their own sin, and they're getting rid of their own sin in their lives and their own problems, then God is working in this world. Then God is bringing people to Him. Then God's plan is going to come into effect, because non-believers don't want this whole list of things that they have to do or can't do. God doesn't want us to judge people. We don't know. If a guy commits murder, adultery, lies, and cheats today, and he gets saved, and he gets down and he makes a relationship with the Lord, and he gets up tomorrow and he's really working on it, and he just lies, cheats, and steals tomorrow, but he didn't commit murder. Is he working on it? Is he getting better? Is the Lord working with him? Well, yeah. Did he sin? Yeah, he still did. So it's not our place to judge where people are at with God. They know that with themselves. It's our place to bring people to God. When we bring them to God, God will deal with them. And God can get rid of that sin way quicker and easier than we can. Well, how do you bring people to God? That would be the next step, right? So, we decided that we didn't come from a tadpole. We want to be saved. We believe in God. What do we do to get saved? We love God with all our heart, all our mind, all our soul. We treat others like we want to be treated. We realize that we have to go out and bring other people to the gospel. How do we do that? How do we get other people to the gospel? How did we get here? How did we get here? Just like where we started with, it's like one big circle that comes around. You ask them. You just walk up to them and ask them. Do you believe you came from a tadpole? Do you believe someone created you, something created you? And if they believe that something created them, then you explain to them what they have to do. They have to love God with all their heart, all their mind, all their soul. And they have to treat their neighbor as they want to be treated. They have to go home, they have to try. They have to get the Bible out, and they have to read it, and they have to do what God convicts them of, and strengthen their relationship with God. So in closing, just like that came to a circle there, and so does this sermon, because we started in Romans chapter 10, and I'll end in Romans chapter 10. If there's anybody out there who's decided that they didn't come from a tadpole, and they want to get to heaven, they do believe in God, what do you have to do? Romans chapter 10, verse 9 and 10 says that if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart one believes unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. That means that you have to believe in God, and you have to confess your sins, and that you do believe in them. It's not that hard. So, that's it. I don't know how to bring that to an end, but that's what I had. I'm going to get Spooky to come up here and finish me up.
We'll sing our hymn of response, hymn number 465.